Hello and welcome back to Wargaming with me, Gary. And I've done another 6 figures. I'm very pleased. That's 12 for my next regiment, and I do regiments of 24, apart from guard units who I do 36. Yeah, so 36, 24. No, I don't. 24. Yeah, no, I do 36. Yeah. So I'll show you those in a minute. I'm going to do some more history. I hope you're enjoying that. I've got another 2 of these videos to go. So I'm doing a batch of videos at the moment. So let me know what you think about the history thing. Like if that's working for you, let me know. If not, I'll if enough people say no, it's, you know, I'm really not enjoying that at all, then I'll change it and I'll do something else. But I must admit, I'm thoroughly enjoying it because I'm learning stuff that I didn't know about the ancient Middle East, and yeah, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So that's where we are. Oh, I tell you what, I will do. You alright?
Yeah, too long.
Oh, I won't have long to do this video. My wife's just come into the garage, told me food's going to be put on the plate on the table in a minute, so I better get cracking. So that noise will be my wife looking for something to eat. Bless her. Oh, God, that is loud. Yeah.
Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, Yorkshire pudding. Thank you, darling. Okay. I do apologise for that. She's not normally that disruptive, to be honest. She's not really usually very quiet. Okay. I've put some music on. What's this one? It's Montavani Exodus. I love this song. Absolutely love it. I'll turn it up a little bit. Oh, it's not a song, it's a tune, isn't it? There we are. Okay, my wife's back in. Bless her. Do you want me in the video, darling? Yeah, do you want to come in? No. So where were we? Oh, I was going to show you these 6 figures. So let me just. So yeah, I still haven't got a tripod. I probably won't get a tripod until about Christmas now. They're not cheap. There we are. Right. So there's 6 figures again. Let's zoom in so you can have a look at them. There. So they are. So similar, very similar. I've purposely done similar shields, but lots of very different shields. This guy here, I tried something a little bit different. Where is he? There. Instead of cutting it a circle, I cut square. I don't think it's really worked, to be honest. But you know, that's life. Yeah, so there's that other 6 done to go with them 6 and that regiment there. So this will be the 2nd regiment. So let's just, right, I've got to use my other hand. I can't do an awful lot with my left hand. Let's zoom out. There we are. Okay, so I'll just put these on here. Now these, I've got to tell you, these war base movement trays are the ones like you can get. I get the ones with, I think it's 33mm extra depth, and it works really well. The figures go in really nicely. Yeah. So there's the start of my 2nd regiment, Babylonian infantry. Got loads to do. And I'll just keep banging on. I hope that music's not too loud. I might turn it down just a little bit actually. Bear with me, because that is a bit loud. Now, right, so I've turned that down a bit. Right, so that's that. Now what the other thing I want to do is I wanted to talk about Let me get that in front of me. I've got bullet points I should say. I do everything with bullet points because I've got a memory like a sieve. Now, okay, so now I'm not normally, let me zoom out, out, okay, now I'm not normally this interested in farming and agriculture, but this is huge for Mesopotamia and ancient history. So, and it's also it's not actually outside of military. So, however, in this case, the fertile land of Mesopotamia were fought over, and therefore has a close link to farming. See, let's see what I did. I'm linking them both together. The Sumerians adopted an agricultural lifestyle perhaps as early as 5000 BC. Yeah. Living along the valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates, Sumerian farmers were able to grow an abundance of grain: barley, chickpeas, lentils, wheat, dates, onions, garlic, lettuce, leeks and mustard seed. The surplus of which enabled them to settle in one place and not have to keep moving from one place to another to find food. They also caught fish, hunted fowl and gazelle. So this links in nicely with civilization, because without the farming they wouldn't have been able to build the civilization in the first place, and this gives you some idea of, you know, and the diversity of the food, you know, like, you know, if you look at what, from wheat to dates and mustard seed, I mean, how did they find out? And that's what always gets me. How did they find out how, you know, if we grow this, we will get that? Or was it already wild mustard seed or whatever? And then they, you know, produced more of it. Sumerians might be, yeah. So I've made a note here. The Sumerians might be my favourite people of all time, as it is possible they were the first known people to be beer drinkers. Yes. What a fantastic society. Even back then they knew the benefits of beer. It's all good, isn't it? It's all good. It was even referenced in the epic of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, when Enkidu was introduced to food and beer. You know, the same as what Gilgamesh's people drank. Good lad. Whoever introduced him to the beer, good man. Things would obviously develop slowly as they developed core agricultural techniques, including organised irrigation and large-scale intensive cultivation of land. So all this was, see, and this goes back to things I've been saying about before, about how it's a slow development, you know, especially back then, very slow, you know, in comparison to how fast we move now. Early Sumerian drawings suggest that sheep, goats, cattle and pigs were domesticated, and they used oxen as beasts of burden and donkeys as their primary transport. They made woolen clothing as well as rugs from the wool and hair of the animals that they cultivated. Sumerians practiced similar irrigation techniques as those used in Egypt, which depended heavily on irrigation by the use of a shadaf or a shadoof, which is a hand-operated device for lifting water. They also used canals, channels, dikes, weirs and reservoirs. Sumerians harvested during the spring in 3-person teams consisting of a reaper, a binder and a sheaf handler. The farmers would use thrashing wagons. Now, how advanced is that? Thrashing wagons driven by oxen to separate the cereal heads from the stalks, and then use threshing sleds to disengage the grain. And although we use similar mechanisms, you know, mechanicals and machinery today, their approach is very similar to what we do today. I mean, I'm sure if there are any farmers amongst the guys out there, that would have sounded very familiar. Doesn't sound familiar to me, but I'm sure it would sound familiar to any farmer. The frequent and violent floods of the Tigris, and less so of the Euphrates, meant that canals required frequent repair and continual removal of silt, and they eventually set up an agricultural specialised labour force under bureaucratic control, although the rich were able, for example, the rich were able to avoid this, so manual hard work. That's a terrible statement, isn't it? Like that rich people don't work hard. Of course they do. How do we think they earn their money? They must have worked very hard at some point. That's just me being a little bit bitter, I suppose, about not having much money, especially at the moment, now that I've paid for 2 weddings. So farmers would flood their fields and then drain the water. Next, oxen would stamp the ground to kill weeds. Then they dragged the fields with pickaxes and ploughed. They ploughed, harrowed and raked the ground 3 times and pulverised it with a mattock before planting. Means nothing to me, nothing. Sounds like farming stuff. But if you're a farmer, I'm sure that would have been very interesting. I'm going to cover religion later, but just a quick mention that the temples with the support of the leaders organised a type of rationing for people, which led to the necessity to manage temple accounts, which in time led to the development of writing. Now that thing is interesting, because without writing we don't have civilization. In support of this claim, there were accounts of barley rations issued monthly to adults and children, written on clay tablets. And that they were found to be, or they believe that these were done. So this particular tablet was found 2350 BC. The Sumerian lands. Let me turn this up. It's the gladiator thing. It's a bit low. That's better. I like that. Yeah. The Sumerian lands in the south were being compromised as a result of poorly drained, irrigated soils in an arid climate with high levels of evaporation, which led to the build-up of dissolved salts in the soil, reducing agricultural yields severely. This greatly, let me just get down there, upset the balance of power. Yes. See, this is exactly what this is why I'm doing this thing about the farming and agriculture, because because the flooding affected the south and the north differently. So it upset the balance of power within the region, weakening the areas where Sumerian was spoken, and comparatively strengthening those where Akkadian was spoken, or was the major language. This period is generally taken to coincide with a major shift in population from southern Mesopotamia towards the north. Well, for good reason. If you're not being able to produce the foods that people have become used to, people move away, go somewhere where they can get it. Not unlike now. I'm sure if England were to stop producing chocolate, I'd probably move to Scotland if they were still producing Scotland. And become a very proud Scotsman instead of a very proud Englishman. So this period is generally taken to coincide with the shift of population from the south to the north. Now that's as much as I've done. They're all my notes. That's my case notes. So and I'll read it. So that's the farming of Sumer, briefly covered. But you know what? Although I'm not particularly interested in farming, I love things that come from farms, bread, meat, all that stuff. I found that surprisingly interesting. I really did enjoy it, because there was also, it wasn't only about learning things I didn't know about farming, especially from ancient times, but it also linked into war. Military, because this is what they're all fighting for, you know. You know, we want what you've got. And I'm pretty sure, you know, like these moves from the south to the north weren't peaceful. I'm pretty sure they would have been quite violent and warlike. So, but we'll see. I've got more stuff to come. So, that's me done. I'm going to try and get another 6 figures painted. I seem to be getting on with this a bit now. I'm very pleased with how it's going. So anyway, so I'm going to do some more paintings, get some more figures painted, do a bit more history, and share that with you. I think I've got two more videos to go, and then you can tell me what you think. Yeah, do you like the historical part of it, or would you just wish I'd get on with the painting? Whatever. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. Just let me know. Yeah. So that's me done. I'll speak to you soon. All the best. Bye.